How's it going, guys? My name is Jake. This is my first moto vlog. So I'm on my 2024 Triumph Scrambler 900. I've done quite a few things to this baby, but it's treated me really well. Most recently, I have swapped over the handlebars here. These are a Pro Taper handlebar that was made specifically for Indian for their FTR lineup. But just turns out it's a really solid handlebar on the street scrambler as well. It's got a good rise to it. It's got a good feel. I had previously a Pro Taper bar from British Customs that was called the Flat Tracker. It's to my understanding that they made that handlebar specifically for British Customs, and it was awesome. It sat really low though, and it had quite a bit of sweep, almost like I was riding with a beach cruiser type bar on here. It's very cool. I get the idea of the Flat Tracker bar, but for me and my riding style, I really ended up taking to this handlebar. Made a big difference. I feel like I'm more in control of the bike. Again, kind of like how the original handlebar felt on here, except this one sits a little bit higher. So we're just going on a little cruise on our way to work this morning. I work right over there at a little place called Grand Prix Motorsports. I sell motorcycles. I think it's awesome hanging out, talking about bikes all day. And of course, making some deals happen doesn't hurt. Allows me to do things to the Scrambler that I want to do, which I've got some plans for it in the future. You know, I've had some thoughts about perhaps painting the tank. TEC does a really cool cam for these bikes, and I'd like to squeeze just a little bit more power out of it. Not that the 900 is really lacking at all. I figured for the few $100 and maybe a day's work, wouldn't be bad to get this thing closer to how the 1200 motor feels. So I bought this bike brand new in April of this year here in Denver, Colorado. As you can see, we've got 7,037 miles on it as of today. Look at those guys. They're just out having fun on BMWs. Anyway, we got 7,037 miles on this bike, and it has been a pure joy. I've ridden this thing on a few trips this year, which I really enjoyed. I did a Taos, New Mexico trip, and I also did Gunnison, Colorado. Unfortunately, that trip was cut short for some family emergencies that kind of happened at that time. But I did plan on doing the $1 Million Highway, and more importantly, I wanted to take the Scrambler on Last Dollar Road down into Telluride. Now, it is the end of September. It's the 27th to be exact. Temperatures are starting to cool down quite a bit, and a lot of those trips through the mountains, of course, are going to come to an end. So yeah, in the 7,000 miles that I've had this Triumph, I've been extraordinarily happy with it. I've made plenty of modifications. It's got a British Customs exhaust. We got engine guards. We got accessory lights. And I also have fitted a Baja Designs LP6 as my headlight. Right now we're just trying to cruise through the suburbs here. I'm going to take us on a short little loop kind of by Chatfield State Park in my area, which is on the southwest side of Denver, Colorado. There's a fairly large reservoir there, and there's some housing developments down and around Santa Fe, and we can just kind of cruise. Oh hey, check it out, we got a hot air balloon out there today. That one's actually got the Denver County flag on it. That's kind of cool. So we're gonna make a left here and head down this road. This is called Santa Fe. Unfortunately right now, this thing has been under construction for a while. And you can kind of see that, I don't know, maybe they're making it better? Not quite sure. But we've been fighting it every day. So one thing I'm particularly fond of on this bike is the fat tank. So I found this tank on Facebook Marketplace a few months ago, and it was a pretty good deal. You know, I know tanks can be pretty expensive. This one wasn't exactly perfect, but we've polished it up. It's looking a little dusty today, but we've gotten it polished up, and we put some new tank badges on it. I love the style of it. I always kind of thought that the tank that was coming on the Street Scrambler, or you know, now called Scrambler 900 again, I always thought that tank was just kind of a little small looking, and it sure was. Fuel capacity wise is definitely less than this tank. So this is a nice little stretch of road I get to ride pretty often. In the early mornings, it's not very crowded with cars, and the speed limit's pretty decent. I believe we're at 55 miles an hour here. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I am always looking for that sixth gear. I'm always pulling the clutch and trying to upshift to sixth. And I don't know if that's an effect of, you know, where I'm feeling the RPM range at, or a holdover from my last bike. So in 2017, I bought the Triumph Thruxton R. I was living just north of Seattle at the time. Oh, hello, Mr. Police Officer. Good thing we're doing the speed limit. So I was living north of Seattle at the time. I had my 2012 Bonneville SE. That bike served me really well. It was somewhat my first bike, technically my second bike. And I put plenty of miles on it. I had some scary instances, but came out unscathed. As I was saying, that bike had 6 speeds, and honestly that makes a big difference, especially cruising on the highway. This is kind of my favorite bike to ride around and do these kind of rides, but when it comes to being on the highway and putting down some serious miles on this bike, it's difficult. It's difficult. You're pretty high in the RPM range in 5th gear. Especially doing this speed limit on the highway, going across the state, you will find that you're hunting for that 6th gear. Would I let that deter me from picking up the new Scrambler? No, I really wouldn't. And you know, I like doing difficult things on this bike. I've taken this up some passes, and it's been some places that it was a little questionable whether I should have taken it or not, or if perhaps I need to invest in a dual sport bike. But I'm kind of a one bike household, so another bike at this time is not really a realistic thing. So I love the styling. I love the classic look of a Triumph. And then I kind of made it work. But it does have on it currently a set of Michelin Anarchy Wilds. I put these tires on at 1,500 miles. I took the Metzler Torrences off, put these on, because I knew when the summer approached that I was going to want to go out and ride some more, you know, dirt roads, fire roads, technical stuff on this bike. And now we're at 7,000 miles. So I've had these tires on for 5,500 miles. And just now is that rear tire starting to get to the point to where I'm like, yeah, we're gonna need a new one. I do ride in plenty of situations where having that tire is really useful. It's not just for looks, not really a city rider. I kind of stay in my area and I head up that way. This exhaust on this bike has a very good sound, very tried and true Triumph tone. The 270-degree crankshaft on this Street Scrambler really makes it sound nice. So you always kind of got to be slow coming through here. This is Waterton Canyon. And there's a huge parking lot over here where people cross to go ride their bikes or hike up Waterton Canyon, check it out. And you never know who's going to dart across the road here. And it's already packed this morning. So a nice little loop on this Saturday morning here. Nice to just be in the wind before we head to work. So yeah, I kind of want to turn it over to you guys and figure out what kind of questions you have for me. It could be about riding in Colorado. It could be about this Triumph. It could be about my vlogging setup. You know, I just kind of want to be on YouTube and have a place where I can share my experiences and hopefully inspire a few other people to get out there and do the same. Because I think that this community is better when we grow together. And, you know, it doesn't matter what you ride, man. It just matters that you get out and do it. You know, I think that we all share, you know, a little aspect of family because we do so. You know, we look out for each other. Yeah, that's a good time. And then we're gonna come up to my least favorite part of this little loop, and that is getting back on the highway. I don't love it, but from this area right here, it's not easy for me to get back to where I need to be in a reasonable amount of time. I'd have to take some surface streets, but we're on a little bit of a time crunch this morning. And away we go. And we've arrived. Those are a couple real good folks that I work with. They're in service. And here we are on the Scrambler. So thanks for coming along this morning, and we'll see you next time.